So you're thinking of moving to Lisbon, Portugal. Today, I'm going to show you around Graça, from the highest hill in Lisbon, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods. So today it's on the fringe of tourist season, so you'll get to see what the tourist impact is when it's not even tourist season. So we'll see if it's the right neighborhood for you. We're going to see different property types, different price points, and get a feel for the lifestyle, and then you can see if it's for you. After that, we're going to walk down to Alfama, and then we'll compare the two. If this is your first time to see our channel here, Living in Lisbon, go ahead and subscribe. We give neighborhood tours and show properties in neighborhoods all over Lisbon and the surrounding area. If you'd like to be notified right away if there's a change in the market or to see some unlisted properties, go ahead and tap the bell. modern versions. And here are two examples. Here I'm walking down this steep hill from the Mirador Senora de Monte, and there are two displays here. It adds so much character to the area. So we can't be sure just on surface level, but I would bet a pastel de nata that this building that is bricked up, basically, is due to an inheritance issue. It is such an issue in Portugal. These buildings go into ruin slowly but surely in many cases because the heirs cannot agree on what to do with the property. But the government is trying to do some things to force the properties to be dealt with properly so that they don't go into ruin. So we have gotten access to a handful of properties lately that were on the verge of going into ruin because of these new laws. Now they're being forced to be dealt with, and the lucky owner has quite a project, but the buildings will be saved from having to be demolished. If you like a project, let me know. We can connect you. We're still in Graça, and this is the area of the Rua de Graça. It's down from the Mirador, but this is where there's definitely real community. There are sidewalk cafes. This is where the public transportation runs, since it can't get in some of the narrow streets that are higher. You have the older folks and the young creatives, people walking their dogs. You have organic markets, tourist shops, and everything in between. But it's not nearly as touristy as its neighbor, Alfama, down below. Could you see yourself living here? A 2-bedroom apartment in good condition here, and this particular area would run from 400,000 euros to 650,000 euros right now. So cute. What are the pros of living in Graça? The main one is that it has a real, and I mean real, neighborhood vibe. Not just the appearance of a real Lisbon neighborhood vibe, but you feel it. You feel it when you're here. People are living life here. there are tourists, but they're more locals than tourists, which is really nice. It is walkable. You can easily walk to Alfama or down into central Lisbon. There is some public transportation, including the tram, the 28 tram, which is charming, but actually used for daily public transportation for people who live and work here. The prices are still much more affordable than in Alfama or Príncipe Real, yet there are many of the same characteristics. It's historic and there are certain charms. I have some stories to tell you that I'll tell you at a different time, but some of the reasons why Graça is a little bit gritty, but it also is very elegant. So it is a special combination. What are the cons of living in Graça? It's hilly, which can be a problem if you have a stroller or if you have mobility issues. I do see people who appear to be well over 80 navigating with their canes, so it can be done, but just keep that in mind. Another thing is most of these apartment buildings are not going to have elevators. So they're charming, but they're walk-ups. So there's that. A lot of these streets are very narrow and quirky and will be very hard to have deliveries. Parking is rare, complicated. You're definitely not going to have your own parking spot in most every case. There's luxury and there's luxury. There are definitely some luxury properties in Graça, but most of them have more charm and character than outright luxury. So you have to see if that's your cup of tea. This part of Graça is on Rua Angelini Vidal. And there are fixer-uppers, there are quirky little alleyways. It's definitely a lower price point. Fixer-uppers can start from 300 to 450,000 euros. And it's away from the Miradouro, but still very much a neighborhood vibe. So one thing that was really intimidating to me when driving in Lisbon is where to get gas. And we're looking right now at an urban gas station. You just have to be aware, and that's what they look like. They're not freestanding gas stations like you might be used to, but otherwise they work the same. We're right on the edge of Graça, the edge of the Sapadores Penha de França. Now, these apartments would be at a much more favorable price point. Less charming, but more affordable. So, these would range from 250,000 to 400,000 euros. This is the Graça Church and Convent. There's an amazing terrace with a 360-degree view, and it's a very well-kept secret. So we've just toured around Graça. Graça offers community, stunning views, a sense of place. But the properties are small and it's just different. It's different. If you could see yourself loving living in Graça, we'd love to help you. People reach out to us every day, and we're locals, but we're Americans originally, so we know what people want. We also understand the sense of urgency. We would love to help you find your little place in Lisbon and make a smooth move to Lisbon, Portugal.